And we are live today for yet another of our favorite thing to do on Thursdays. We are going to be talking to you guys live with your questions. First of all, we've received so many awesome questions. I'm excited to tackle them. And before we do that, today I have our realtor partner, Eva Pomedley, joining. And Eva and I are going to be sharing some updates because I know you guys have been seeing some updates with regards to real estate. We do a lot of consults with both buyers and sellers. We know what your concerns are, we know what your questions are. And frankly, because we work with a few of you, more than a few of you, we kind of have an idea in terms of the pulse of the marketplace. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my colleague, Ms. Eva Pomedley.
Hello, guys. We are here again. I'm excited to address your guys' questions. And of course, if you're here watching us live, feel free to put it in the chat. But also, if you're like rewatching this because we put them up, everybody could rewatch at their own discretion. DM us or follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Like, there's not a platform that we're not on. I don't think. I don't know if we're on Twitter, but are we on Twitter?
We are. It's no longer called Twitter.
Yeah.
It's called X.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so we are on every single platform that I know of. Now, if there's a platform that you guys think that we should be on, please let us know. I also set my phone on the side here for some of our TikTok people to see us. Hello. Thank you for joining. So today we're going to be talking about some of the updates that's happened in the past week. And it's we waited a week before we talk about it because we wanted to share with you firsthand what we are experiencing in the marketplace. Again, for those of you guys who are joining us for the very first time, we're coming to you from Ottawa. We have two locations, Ottawa and Toronto. So that's in the province of Ontario, Canada. And I know a lot of people know Toronto, but they don't know Ottawa. Ottawa is actually the capital city of Canada. So without further ado, let us talk about something that happened. Obviously, we're going to talk about interest rates, so don't worry about it. We're going to be talking about it. But something else that you may not have heard as homeowners. So there was a new Homeowner Protection Act that came into place June 6th, 2024. And so with that, what's really awesome with that, some of you guys may not have heard, as homeowners on Saturday, Sunday, even some regular days that you're working from home, you hear this knock at the door, you open the door, and you've got some people saying, oh, we were just in the area doing blah, blah, blah for your neighbors. And so we were wondering if you would like to do that as well. Can we come in? Or so a lot of the times they want to try to sell you on like furnaces. They want to sell you on new AC or water purifiers. And so tell everybody what's up with this new Homeowner Protection Act, Eva.
So the problem with these kind of products that they're selling door to door, of course, it's not all of them. We're just worried about the fraudulent or misrepresentative people that come to your door. They sell you products at like an extremely expensive rate when you look at it, right? Like they'll sign you up for maybe even a rent to own option on a furnace or a hot water tank, something like that. And it ends up you're paying exponential amounts by the end of it. Not only that, but they will put liens on your property to ensure that you end up paying this. And it'll be on title of your home. But now with this new Protection Act that's been put in place recently, it is possible to discharge these liens on your property without payment. Because these liens are put on your property not only by furnace companies and these kind of appliances, but it could be done by construction companies as well. And it was surprising about how easily it was done without anyone's consent of the homeowner of the property. So if you do a title search on your property and there's an unexpected lien there from some company and you're confused, well, now this Protection Act is there to help you and discharge it without payment.
Yeah, so a really good point. There's a lot of people that on closing they realize, oh, there's a lien on my home and I can't actually sell it. And that's, you know, part of what the buyer's lawyer does. Something like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before closing, that's their deadline to do a title search to make sure that the title of the property is clean and clear from any kind of liens or encumbrances. And so with that, they're able to figure out, sometimes they see these liens on title and title's not good. And so it stops the whole thing. Buyers are ready to move in. Imagine 2 weeks before closing, you just realize, oh my goodness, I am not moving in. So that is what we certainly need to take into consideration. You know, and so good on them for doing this act. Came into play June 6th, 2024. Now, we also wanted to, I see some really nice questions coming through. I want to say that one of the common questions, Eva, being in Ottawa, and of course Toronto, but in Ottawa in particular, and you know, tell the viewers why we get this kind of question. But one of the common questions we're asked all the time is, should I move to Ottawa or Gatineau? Right? And so first, tell the viewers why we get this question. And what's the difference between Ottawa and Gatineau, really?
Well, it is enticing to move to Gatineau or Quebec in general when you're looking on Realtor.ca. Like the sticker shock is incredible. I mean, you could get a residential home for like 450 there, like not a condo, like a proper freehold. And in Ottawa, it's a lot higher. Ontario, it is like an incredible investment, as we've seen. Like, what, of course it is. Like, that's why the prices are where they are today. And in Quebec, they haven't been performing at the same rate. And it's not because it's not a great place to live. For some people, it's an amazing place to live. But there are some things that are a lot different. Like they have language laws there. So if you're not a francophone or you don't speak French, that might be a deterrent for you. But it's also a deterrent for immigration as well. Some people don't feel like coming to Canada if they don't speak French. You know, Quebec might not be the place to go for them. So that definitely impacts the prices. And there's different like services over there, but also you might be heading for higher taxation if you're over there in Quebec. They have higher taxes than here in Ontario.
Yes, exactly. And of course, they, you know, in Quebec, one of the things I've heard is that, as you know, I have family in Quebec. The healthcare is not quite to par with here on the Ontario side. And the quality of homes is also very different in Quebec than it is in Ontario. The builders here, they go through many inspections during the time that they're putting the home together. And for me, they should be going through more inspection than what is actually being inspected right now. So Quebec doesn't go through that regimen of inspection. So for sure, I think that Ontario does better. And a lot of the times, people that live in Ontario, both Ottawa and Toronto, mostly Toronto, they are business owners, small business owners. So there's a lot of people moving in to Ontario from around the world. In Ottawa, we are backed by a lot of government employees. We have a high tech park here, and so that's what is really making the economy run. But I am seeing a lot of new business owners coming in from Toronto to Ottawa and calling Ottawa their home. And you know, we see a great growth. We see a very healthy movement in the real estate market. Whereas in Quebec, there's not a lot of, I mean, there is, but it's not as much as Ontario. And if you look at the trajectory of the price, in Ontario, we've got a much, much better, you know, increase in the valuation of your home as opposed to Quebec. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it is just friendlier for newcomers to set roots here in Ontario than honestly any other province aside from British Columbia. British Columbia is beautiful, but it's also very expensive. And a lot of the homes are leasehold, which maybe we'll talk about that later on. Okay, so let us go on to the next big thing, which I think everybody's been talking about, which is Bank of Canada finally, before I say this, I want to ask those of you guys that are watching this, if you find this information helpful, share it with your friends, share this live on your social media channel so other people, other, you know, friends of yours, families of yours, get to hear it from people that are in the marketplace so that they know exactly what's happening. Okay. If you know somebody's looking to move, this might be helpful, regardless of whether or not they're in Ottawa, Ontario, or whatnot. Bank of Canada just announced last week, thank you, that they basically dropped the rate by 0.25. So with that, I think the most important question, and I think we got one of our viewers ask, is what is your take on the current market? Seller or buyer? Are people still on the fence? And what do you think is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 months?
Do you want me to take that?
Well, you can start. Yes, absolutely. Like, what are you seeing, Eva?
Definitely like a lot of movement on the first time home buyer price points for sure. There was like if you consider like last week, I was thinking like, oh, maybe there's a little bit of a lag coming up to the higher price points. But now I think the lag is almost gone. Like that lag was just pretty much a week. Even the
Mhm.
higher price points, and when I say that in Ottawa, what I mean is like 700, 800, 900, a million. They're starting to move these really nice detached homes there. I think what's going to happen is this is going to relieve some pressure from sellers that were pushed to sell, maybe because of their mortgage payments. If you're on variable, this is like a lot of relief for that. And maybe might encourage them to lock in at a lower rate. So I think we're not going to have as much inventory. Prices are going to continue to go up because this is like provides a lot of what do you call it? Like reassurance. Like it combats the skeptical side of you if this is the right choice right now. So a lot of first time home buyers are jumping in.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the same thing.
Yeah, so what I see is that in both markets, we're seeing that the consumers feel the confidence that they can enter in the marketplace right now. And you know, which is great because this is this is what really moves the economy, in my opinion. I think that, you know, whenever you hear people have like businesses talk about cash flow issues that they've been having and things like that, a lot of it had to, people don't realize how much of the economy is related to real estate. It's not just us realtors, real estate brokers, real estate mortgage brokers, but also there's a lot of trades that are associated with real estate, a lot of investments that happen as a result of real estate, a lot, a lot, a lot. So with that, and the material, for instance, right? So all of this does affect the overall economy. I am very happy to see that buyers are feeling more confident moving on with purchases. We did start to see some kind of movement at the lower price points starting to move. We are seeing multiple offers take place. We are seeing that homes that are presented well, they've got the trifecta effect that we talk about. They get to go very quickly, and we do get multiple offers. So what are those three things? It's price, presentation, and of course the marketing. And so price is very important still. A lot of people think, okay, we talk to sellers all the time, and the sellers are like, well, you know what, I'm not in a hurry, so I'm going to try to ask the buyers to pay that much more for my home. And sometimes we're like, you know what, because the market was so stagnant in the past couple of years, it's really hard for us to determine pricing sometimes, because we went from prices being so inflated as a result of the pandemic, as a result of all the different things that were happening, the interest rates being so low in 2021 and 2022. And then suddenly, they started to increase the interest rates, and people started to back out of the marketplace. So it's really, really hard for us to really get a good grip of what the pricing is, especially for homes that are super unique. If it's a cookie cutter home, that's very different. But if it is a home that is super unique, it sometimes takes a little bit more finesse to be able to come up with the price. And so we need the price to be like right on. We can't be like, okay, you know what, let me try to get the buyers to pay for my home that much more, like a $500,000 home. Like we all know, like sellers, they want to sell their $500,000 home for $1 million, and buyers the opposite. Like they want to buy a $1 million home for $500,000. That's how it works, right? But I mean, and we are there with you. We are just as excited to help you achieve that goal, and we want you to get that result. Now, we have to be a little bit realistic, guys. So when it comes to pricing, we have to be we have to know what the market is. We have to see what the market tells us, right? So there's a little bit of a feedback we need to get from the marketplace. And the nice thing with us, we certainly do. One of the first things we do is, because we've got such a large database of over 14,000 people, almost 15,000 people in our database, we do our beta testing to see what's going on. What is it that our people are saying to us with regards to this price? Okay. Again, market changes all the time, and we're able to navigate through it because we know what's happening. So buyers do feel that, especially at the lower price points, they are getting in the market. We are seeing multiple offers. Depends on the area as well, right? And then, of course, they have to move. So those guys that are selling at that price point and moving up, they're able to do just that as well. And so with that, we're going to hopefully see a nice movement in the marketplace. So those people that are waiting on the fence, if you're watching, if you know somebody who's waiting to get into the marketplace, you absolutely should and must get into the marketplace. Because if you think that what happened in 2021, it was crazy, or 2022, early 2022, you ain't seen nothing yet. And the reason for that is we see so many different things, right? Eva, I'm gonna maybe let Eva chime in here.
Yeah, well, I do speak to a lot of buyers. It's hard to know what to believe, what to think. There's like always people talking about how there's going to be a market crash. Like just wait like one more year, prices will go down. Okay, not this year, just one more year and prices will go down. Just wait, you know, it's a cycle. And like there's always some kind of catastrophe that home sellers will be somehow pushed out of their homes, or you know, we all understand like that living in Canada, like it's difficult here. I mean, like prices for everything keeps going up. I don't think home prices are going to go significantly down in the near future at all. And even if they do go down, I don't think it's going to be to the levels that we needed to. Like, for example, like with our interest rates, right? Interest rates go up, price goes down, but your mortgage is more expensive than if you were to purchase in 2021. So it's just kind of like it hurts on all sides of it. So if it's like a little bit of a push right now, like, oh, it'll be a little bit uncomfortable to push myself and buy a home, like you should go ahead and do it right now, because if you wait, it's going to become either way more uncomfortable or like push you out of it altogether. And same thing with the first time home buyers that think like, okay, my first step, which I was meaning to talk about before. Okay, I'm going to do my first step. I'm going to buy in Quebec and then I'm going to come on over to Ontario. I would urge you not to do that either, because we have had, you know, clients same mindset before. Okay, I'll just go buy in Quebec. It's less uncomfortable and I'll come back over to Ontario. It gets even harder at that time because Ontario is outperforming Quebec in that way. So you have such a huge leap to save for while you're also paying your mortgage. Even builders are thinking that prices are going to go up significantly. They're not releasing as many lots as they were planning to in the past because, and I've heard this from the builders themselves, they're holding on to their lots to sell at a later time because they know they'll make more money. So if you don't believe us, believe all these companies that have made their livelihood on selling all these homes. Like they know something, right? So that's the trajectory. And whether we like it or not, the builders really do set like a huge bar here. For us, they set a huge trajectory. Whenever people are looking, they're looking, okay, yes, at the resale market, but also, okay, are new builds the same price? Are they more? So that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention, I was reading in the news today, I think it was the Toronto Star that said that Canada is now the fifth country in the world in terms of ranking for basically bringing in the refugees. So, meaning to say that we are bringing in people in record number from all around the world. And as an immigrant myself, I came here almost, I would say 30 years ago with my family. And one of the worst, if there are some immigrants or some people that are ready to move to Canada and just, you know, found our page and are watching it, want to get an idea, hey, what's happening in Canada? And, you know, there's amazing, great things, great things. I'm coming up with new words as we as we go on, but there's a lot of great things when it comes to that's the reason why this happens is because I am an immigrant. And so anyways, there's a lot of great things when it comes to Canada. Now, home ownership should absolutely be at the top of your list if you get into Canada. You know, you need to get into home ownership as quickly as you can. Now, of course, being where we're located geographically between Ontario and Quebec, and we're on the Ontario side, we're saying that if you have a choice between Ontario and Quebec, I would say choose Ontario. Now, not to say that you shouldn't get into Quebec. Quebec has got beautiful landscape. They've got a lot of pros as well. But if you had a choice between the two, there is more for you in the long-term effect in Ontario than in Quebec. Yes, you're going to get a newer home in Quebec. You're going to get more bang for your buck, 100%, no questions there. But I think what Eva was mentioning here is that between the two, Ontario does well. And the reason why we know is you just look at it historically. Historical data shows that Ontario does well. Now, so we have all these new people coming to Canada, right? So not only refugees, but a lot of new immigrants are coming to Canada as a result of what's happened in 2023 and earlier on this year. Some builders, they have reduced their production as well. So we're not building as many as I think was intended by the government so they were just like sort of holding stuff back for builders to start building. But the problem builders were facing, which we know because we are in this industry, is that builders weren't able to get rid of their inventory, or the properties that they sold pre-construction, they weren't able to close. Okay. So what happened was they're like, well, stop building because we can't get rid of what we have. So that's what's happened here, is that they unfortunately didn't build, or they weren't maybe incentivized to build. So basically the production stopped. So whenever you look at price, you look at what? You look at supply and demand. So if supply is not there and the demand's going up every single day, we have new people coming in, then what's going to happen is the price is going to go up. The other thing is, yes, the prices went through a bit of correction, but this was just induced as a result of interest rates. It wasn't induced because the demand went low. The demand went low because some people are like, oh my gosh, maybe I should wait. You know, it's going to be like, how many people we've been talking to every single day, right? Where they are like, oh my gosh, no, I don't think so. I'm just going to wait till the interest rates drop. And that is the worst thing you could do. I think, like, if you can get into the marketplace, get in the marketplace right now, because we're seeing people, there are a lot of smart people out there that are getting into the marketplace right now, and they're grabbing those homes. And the nice thing is, if you're at the beginning of it, you can do your due diligence. You can check, make sure it's a nice home. You can make sure that you get a good rate. And you know what? It doesn't matter what your rate is today, because your rate can change in about, who knows, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. Although I don't know what your thoughts are about July. By the way, the next interest rate announcement by Bank of Canada is July 24, 2024. And there's a lot of speculations in the marketplace and in the media about what's going to happen July 24th, 2024. What do you think is going to happen? I know we talk about this all the time, but what are your thoughts about this, Eva?
They are not going to drop, unfortunately. I do not think they're going to drop in July. And this is like a common sense take. Like, it's because we don't have enough data on what even this initial drop of 0.25 has done. Like, this is too quick. I think what they'll do is maybe wait for September. Even at that time, I'm not sure if they'll drop. I think we're on a slow decline till the end of 2025. And that's based on the predictions that I was looking at earlier this year by the top 6 big banks. Just so you guys know, you could look these up at any time. The top 6 big banks have economists. They have their own predictions. And it seemed like they were pretty much all in alignment that these rates are going to come at a 0.25%. Slowly but surely, and kind of drop to, I think they were saying something like 3.25% by the end of 2025. If you guys are waiting for it to drop to 2% or 1% or people to pay you to borrow money, I certainly wouldn't wait. I would not wait. I don't know. I feel like even when the interest rates were at 2%, people were still saying, it is too high. I'm waiting. Waiting for what, I ask? waiting. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this conversation never stops, I mean, and if you believe it, then, you're gonna fall behind the marketplace. Go.
Um, but it's funny, like, because it depends on your age too. Like, when did you become cognizant of interest rates or percentage or bank policies? Because when I talk to like parents of my friends or like even my parents, oh, they're saying, "Oh, I bought this house when it's a 20% interest rate." They bought they bought, these
It's
things
true.
when like all odds against them. So if you're waiting for like all lights to be green before you go on a journey, I think you'll probably stay parked for a while. And I wanted to kind of mention this too, like I've always thought this, like when I joined real estate,
Mhm.
I didn't know what kind of people owned homes. Like I thought, oh, the types of people that own homes, like they're all salaried, they have like the greatest jobs, like they're at the height of their career. Um, and I discounted like a lot of different types of jobs. Like I thought like, oh, like you had to be like a salaried like government employee. That is not true. Like there are people that we help, like a ton of PSWs, Uber drivers, um, they own their own small businesses, they work at restaurants, they work two jobs. Um, so I think that if you want to make this happen, like it doesn't matter where you are, what interest rates are, what people are saying in the media, like you could certainly do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't wait. If you can get into the marketplace, get in as quickly as you can. And so the other problem we see is that, a lot of people that are about to get into the marketplace, in their mindset, they have this, like they have their, so I'm talking about younger people, okay? I'm talking about millennials, I'm talking about Gen Zs that are slowly maybe getting into that mindset of home ownership. All they think about is like, okay, I want to get into the same house as my parents. Like, I'm sorry, they worked all their lives to be able to, like, and they changed a lot of homes. Like, you would know because you were there. I would think. So they changed a lot of homes. They went from one home to the next, to the next, to the next, until they were able to find the home that they're in right now. And so, guys, it takes time. It takes time. It takes work. It takes effort. And you can do it, you know. But, give yourself some time, get into the marketplace, get that home, sort of like your trading card. Okay. And then, when things change, you can now trade that in and get something better, and so on and so forth. So you can certainly do that, but you have to make sure that you get into the marketplace, go in full knowledge, know what's up, watch us. We are going to educate you, so by the time you get into the marketplace, you know exactly what you're looking for, you know what questions to ask, what information to get, and so on and so forth. And hey, if you have more questions, like, we invite you to bring it on here and ask us. Okay, so with that, do you want to add anything to that, Eva?
Well, I know that there's something that we wanted to get into, and I felt like maybe it was a natural progression from here. So,
Yes.
um, there was a policy change that actually any residential home, you can have up to 3 units now,
Mhm.
um, without having to get like permits, without this huge hassle. So I just think that makes your first home purchase, like if it's a residential purchase, you could like scrounge by and get that. You
Mhm.
might not need to trade up to also have an investment. Like this first purchase can be way more powerful than I think, like even back in our parents' days, right? Or ever could have been.
Yes. Yes, we were going to talk about Bill 23, and that was about yes, the I believe it's Ontario that announced in 2022, and they have passed it. that you are able to basically build a three level, three not three level, but third density type of a property. So what does that look like? It could be like a single home with two apartments in the basement. It could be, or any kind of like variations of this, by the way, you guys. So you have a main home and then you've got two basement apartments. You have a main home, you have a basement apartment, a garden home. There's coach homes. So yeah, and I think that this is going to be great. This is going to be great. This is going to help with the population growth. And again, it talks about why should you get into home ownership today and not wait till the interest rates drop or something extraordinary happens before you get into home ownership. And by the way, there's a huge shift in wealth happening right now as we speak from the baby boomers to the millennials, okay, and then followed by Gen Zs. But guys, you need to get into it because I don't know where you're watching. If you're watching in Canada, we have a lot of newcomers coming to Canada, and they want to put roots down, and they absolutely should. So if you don't get into that to like right now, competition is going to be more fierce because there's not that many homes being built, as many as the population is growing. Homes aren't being built that much, that fast, that quickly. And the other thing is, of course, supply of material itself. So the supply of material, like wood, for instance, lumber, the price of lumber, the price of like all the different materials being used inside a home is also going up. So that's the reason why prices go up. And I think that is something that I hear all the time as well. Oh, why is it that like older homes, they don't they're priced less than the newer ones, even though the newer ones are smaller square footage. And that's another reason why, because the cost of labor and material has gone up as opposed to, like, let's say a 1990s home or a 1980s home. And of course, builders are building them, making subdivisions for different lots, smaller, closer together, as opposed to back in 1980s and 1990s or even early 2000s. So that's what you're going to see, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say too, like you go to these new neighborhoods, like they're pretty dense, definitely with the times, they like exactly what we need, right? Like a lot of homes. But if that is not your thing, there are some amazing older homes, like just Orleans comes to example for me. Like between homes, like there's actual parks and like paths. Builders nowadays, they would never do that. Like they just know that the land is worth so much. But
Yeah,
there's these
yeah.
little really secret neighborhoods that I feel like we know about that maybe not everybody knows about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, the price of land, so if you find a good size land, get in there. Of which we if you are in Ottawa, we have access to off-market properties. These are properties by homeowners that want us to sell it, not necessarily in the market. As of right now, we have a huge list of these off-market properties that whenever you become our VIP buyers, we're able to give you access to those. And the reason for that is because recently, well, not recently, as of January 1st this year, the Canadian Real Estate Association said that anytime any sort of property is being advertised publicly, you need to place it in the market within 2 days, right? So if that is still the scenario, unfortunately, some of the sellers don't want that. They want people to they don't want to go in the marketplace, some of them, whether it has to do with privacy or they just don't want to have a bunch of people look through their home and things like that. That's the reason why a lot of people prefer that are in this list prefer to not go the traditional way of going through the realtor.ca or MLS website. And it's, you know, it's their right. If this is your home, this is your home. So that's the reason why that whenever you become our VIP buyer, we'll be able to give you access to those. We'll be able to match you with those. And the nice thing is the seller gets to sell their homes to people like yourself who are qualified, ready to act, as well as you get to find these awesome properties and not necessarily have to go through the hassle of going into possibly multiple offers and, you know, all that stress. Okay. It's a more direct conversation. Okay. So with that, we just wanted to share some updates as to what's happened in the past month and past week. We have some questions that I would love to get to. We'll try to get to as many as we can. There were a couple that were not answered from last week. So we're going to tackle those first, and then we're going to go to the next one. So Mona here has asked, has said that I have a tenant and the rent doesn't make sense. So I need to sell. Can I break my lease? And then she goes farther asking, what should I know as a landlord selling my home? So that's a very good question and a common question right now because the rent prices are going up, and you know, again, because of the shortage of inventory. And then what happens is in Ontario, you have a percentage that you can increase your rent by on a yearly basis. And so if the rent prices have gone up significantly and interest rates were going up, and so their payments were not really making sense and they want to sell, can they go ahead and break their lease? Meaning that the lease is probably a year or more. And yeah, what should they do? So Eva, what should they do? What should Mona do here?
So, like, the truthful answer to this question is no, you cannot break the lease just for the purpose of selling. What they could do is have them themselves move in, their child move in, or a caretaker of the family move in. That might be a way for them to end the lease.
No, well, after the 60 days, giving 60 days notice to after the end of the lease term. Right. Yes, yes. Just to clarify here. So if it's like, let's say if it's like July, you can't just say, oh, I'm moving in. So you have to it's July and it's 60 days. You have to give them a notice. So it could be like you can give them a notice 2 months before July to let them know that you're moving it. Sorry. Just want to make sure that our viewers are not
misinformed.
Yes,
it is
exactly.
A tricky situation. Tenants have a lot of rights here, which you should be aware of before becoming a landlord for sure. So that is what has to happen. You need to give notice. Or you could put it up for sale like after their lease is done and they're month to month. But when you sell, you'll have to give them at least 60 days notice. So you are going to have to be a little bit like, well, actually very strict with the kind of occupancy date you're allowed. Which it is definitely possible to put your property up for sale and to get good results when there's a tenant inside. But of course, everybody has to be cooperative, clean, presentable at, you know, all the times that people are seeing your home, which might be a significant hardship already. I know myself, if you walked in any time of the day, my home would not be show ready. So yeah, it's a difficult situation. What would you add on to that, Anna?
I would say, I mean, exactly what you said. Unfortunately, you can't just break the lease just for the fact that you've decided, well, the rent doesn't make sense. I need to sell. Now, what you could do is you can sell it. It's not that you cannot sell it. You can sell it, and simply you would transfer this lease to the new owners. Okay, so of course the new owners or the new the purchasers would like to do their due diligence to check the lease agreement, make sure the lease agreement is good, is to their liking, and so on and so forth. I don't know if, sorry if I missed it, but I don't know if you mentioned the other way in which you can go in there and take possession of your property is if you needed to do like crazy renovations because the property was just not habitable. Meaning to say, like, let's say you have issues with water or with different things that just makes the home not habitable. So that is another reason why you can actually take possession of the property and get in there and change it. But all that to say, you certainly can sell a home if you have to. And there are people, there are investors that are actually looking for properties like that. Maybe there is a bit of a shortage from rent to to actually being able to make the payments, but some of those investors don't mind because they're actually looking for a property that is tenanted and they don't have to go through the hassle of finding a tenant, so long as it's a good tenant. So for those investors that are watching, that are wanting to get into rental properties, one of the things you want to do is you want to make sure that you do your due diligence when you're picking that tenant. You want to make sure these days, like landlords are asking for everything. It's almost like getting qualified for a mortgage, but they're asking for bank bank statements. They're asking for obviously we have a rental application, but like they want to know credit report, and they are looking for a really high credit score, by the way, not like your usual rental market in the past. These days, like they're all looking for like crazy good to great credit scores. You all know what that number looks like. And then they're looking for employment letters or T4s and things like that. So but you have to do that as a landlord because you have to protect yourself in Ontario,
Um,
right?
yeah, and I was just gonna say one thing is that I did have a very, now thinking about it, very similar situation in that there was a property for sale, had a tenant inside, and if you were to, have a mortgage, it wouldn't make sense. But there are a lot of people that do not like believe in mortgages or they're cash buyers for whatever reason. So I know sometimes it's like hard to imagine like who has $600,000 cash, but there are people out there that may be interested in actually the whole rent is still cash flow, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's all kinds of buyers out there. There's like, so you never know, but it's important to discuss it with someone who is well experienced, a good experienced real estate agent or broker can help you and make sure that you're on the right path. Okay. So don't feel like you're stuck. There's always a solution to every single challenge, I like to call it, rather than a problem. Okay. So anything further to add to that, or shall we move on? Now, some of you guys, if you are watching us still with us, I'd like to ask you to please give us a like. I see some of our viewers on TikTok have been hitting the like button. We want to see that, you guys are actually enjoying this topic. You want us to bring you more information and just like getting some kind of an idea in terms of where our viewers are from would be helpful. So maybe in the future we should be asking this at the beginning, but let us know in the comments where you guys are from, where you watching from, and maybe we can cater our questions and information based on like where you guys are coming from so we can help you better and bring you more value.
And if you've made it this far, drop a house emoji in the comment section or in the chat.
I know nowadays it's hard to get people to watch long long-term stuff, but commitment issues. We're really busy, and I know I get it. There's a lot of information coming and so many different apps and things like that. So I get it. You know what? Thank you for watching us, and thank you for hopefully finding some kind of I don't know, some kind of value in this. So we appreciate you guys. Okay, so let's move on. Next question comes from Hafiz. Actually, Hafiz, let me tell you, your name in Farsi. So I am half, for those of you that probably know, anyways, I'm half Iranian, and we say Hafiz. Hafiz was a poet in Iran, a very well-known poet. And they sell, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this, Eva. They actually, they sell his poetry, which is a book. And then what you can do is you can it's kind of like those energy reading cards, or what do they call them?
Tarot card.
Well, kind of like tarot cards, but oracle cards. So it's kind of like that. You just like, you make a wish, you ask him a question, and then you open it up. And then in there, you're able to read the poem, and it just tells you what what the answer is to your question or what have you. And it's pretty good. It's pretty accurate. So anyways, when I saw his name, Hafiz, I don't know if it's pronounced Hafiz. In Farsi, we say Hafiz. What are you going to say, Eva?
Say just maybe it's a sign. Like I should go. I should go get one.
Yeah, actually, that is a good gift for you. I should get. Anyways, so he asks, Hafiz asks, I'm gonna say Hafiz. Hafiz asks, if I price my home for sale low to get over asking, what happens if I only get that one offer at asking price? Do I have to accept it? Oh, I like that question. That's a very good question. So, does he have to accept?
No, you do not have to accept at all. I've actually had situations where myself putting in an offer, and I think there was 4 other agents put in an offer on this house. So it's multiple offer scenario, and they still decided to reject us all. And I know we were over asking price. So I don't know what they were looking for, but no, under no circumstances are you required to accept an offer, even if it's over. Like, it's up to you, 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So it's the first time we're doing this TikTok, and you know what? My phone just died. So I apologize for those of you that were watching through that channel. We'll get it better next time. My battery died. So you got to come on this channel. All right. So so that's basically it. You don't have to accept the offer. Obviously, yeah, it's your home. You get to say the final say, and if you like it, you sign. Otherwise, nope, we're good to go. All right, so Mo is asking, interest rates have dropped. When will I see the change in my payments? Actually, I was talking about this with someone yesterday. So that's a very good question. I guess it's a common question. The next time you are going to see the change in your payments is your next payment. And you will only see it not on everybody's mortgage. I'm sorry, guys. This is only for those of you that have your variable your mortgage is variable and it is not a fixed payment. That's a very different type of mortgage product. Okay. So we have variable fixed payment. So that's not it. You're going to see it if you have a variable mortgage. Okay. And you're going to see it in your next payment. All right. So I think that was pretty straightforward. Now, and the next question comes from, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, but it comes from Zian And Zan is asking, what's the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification? And I'm thinking this has got to do with mortgage. So I'll let you take a stab at it, Eva.
So, pre-qualification would be like you go to whatever your bank and you give them like a rough estimate, just like verbally. You're like, I make about, 75,000 and my car payment's about 600 and I have these other bills that are about my partner makes about this. It's not documented at all. It's just based in like verbal communication. They put it in a calculator. Okay, based on what you told me today, you're qualified for this amount. Um, but that is not good enough. It's not a commitment at all to any extent. So pre-approval, they'll require the documents from you, like same documents you used for your taxes, your T1 or T4, and depends on your certain situation. Like they might require more than that. But your lender puts in writing that they are committing to giving you a mortgage at this rate for this many days. They commit that this offer is available to you.
Yeah,
So that is
exactly.
the difference.
Yes, exactly. Very good. So there you have it. Hopefully we answered your question there, Zan. And of course, if you have other questions, follow-up questions, bring it about. I'm gonna just add one other thing. Definitely having a pre-approval is a lot better than having a pre-qualification. Pre-qualification means nothing really. In fact, it's not even worth the dollar amount of what that paper it was printed on. So it's not really worth anything. Getting a pre-approval is very important, and getting a pre-approval from someone, again, that knows what they're doing. Okay, because there's a lot of pre-approvals being thrown left, right, and center. And we want to make sure that that pre-approval is actually good. It's from somebody that knows what they're doing, whether it's a mortgage broker or a bank. We have seen situations where we couldn't get in touch with a mortgage representative, even though they had given the pre-approval. And there are certain banks that are so awesome, and there are some that not so much. And if you want to know about that, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you and answer those questions as well. But bottom line is, get a pre-approval, very important. And it'll be helping you when you are negotiating, because a home owner wants to be working with someone who has done their part to make sure that they can actually afford the property. And of course, pre-approval are for people who are looking to get mortgages. If you're purchasing cash, you don't need it. All right. Next, did you want to add something? Sorry, I feel like you
A
did.
little something is just a lot of people get this paper and they're like so excited about it. Become very aware of when this paper is expiring. So let's say it says, okay, my pre-approval expires September 30th. So that means you need to close on the house before then, like move in closing day. And so many times when I talk to buyers, I ask them, okay, well, like, what's your closing date that you want? Whenever. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. Like, it should matter to you. So that's something you want to check if you want to get that rate. It may or may not be extendable. If interest rates are going up, your bank will not extend it. Right? So that's it with pre-approvals. Be well acquainted with the details of it.
I want to say one thing here too. I want to elaborate a little bit on this because, even if you were previously an owner of a home and you had a mortgage, all right, and you were looking to move into another property, a lot of the times the homeowners, or I should say, home sellers that are moving up or moving down, whichever, it doesn't matter if you are, getting into a bigger house or a smaller house, They think that, oh, I am good. I don't need to talk to the bank. I'm totally okay. I've already gotten a mortgage. No problem. I can get another one. I would say no. Definitely have a conversation with your mortgage representative, with your bank. Now, some banks are, again, so awesome to work with. Some banks are there to really, they would bend their rules a little bit for you, depending on how often they have been working. You've been their customers, and some may not. Okay, just be very, very aware of that. Now, the other thing with this is that one thing you can ask your mortgage representative at the bank is that, is my mortgage portable? Meaning, can I take my mortgage with the same rate and same conditions and move it onto this other property that I am intending to purchase? So that is definitely something that is doable. And something we can talk to our mortgage broker, we can invite him over, he can elaborate on that. But those are things that are at your disposal and you should be aware of it. Don't just go shopping thinking, oh, my mortgage is good to go. Make sure that you have that conversation with your mortgage, whoever that is, your mortgage broker, your mortgage representatives. And we talked about the difference between the two. So I'm not going to go so much into that, because if you don't know, just watch our last week's episode and you'll be able to know the difference between a mortgage rep and a mortgage broker. But essentially, it's very important for you to be able to do that. And there are different mortgage products out there, you guys. Very important to know what type of mortgage you're getting. Make sure that it is catered to your needs. Don't just walk into a bank because you like the bank, you like the chairs in the bank and the way it's presented and things like that. Make sure that the product itself is actually helping you and your family. So did you want to add anything to that, or we'll just move on to the next one? And I see that we're already over an hour, but we'll just take one other question, and then we'll bring on the 4 questions that are there next time around. Now, if again, you guys, if you have more questions, please submit it in. And our next question comes from Abdul. Abdul is saying, I'm new to Canada with a PR status. I've been told about the 35% down payment required. Can you elaborate on this? Now, the thing is, Abdul, and all these questions, it's making me think we really need our mortgage broker in here to answer these questions, but we will try our best based on what we know. Again, our specialty is regarding homes, but yeah, do you want to tackle that, Eva? The 35% down payment required?
I'm not totally sure on everybody's down payment required. It's so dependent on your certain situation. It benefits like putting higher amounts to some degree. But if your income is hard to document, yes, you may be required to do the 35%, or you have limited credit history here, you have limited everything. But also, I just want to, every time I hear PR, is there are ways to buy without waiting till you have PR as well. Like you're talking about so many refugees coming over. There are ways for refugees to buy homes to be exempt from the speculation tax. So you may not wait if you're somebody here waiting, like, oh, I don't want to bother you guys till I have my PR. You could bother us and it won't be a bother at all to get you ahead and know when it is exactly that you could buy. So what did you want to say about the 35%?
No, pretty much what you said. So I think it's like for someone, because a newcomer doesn't have credit history, can document the fact that they have like their income, because like it's not like they have a T4 or T1 general and things like that. That's probably why they need that. And again, it's a good question or something to bring up for when we bring our mortgage broker on here to tackle.
Yeah. And I think so often when we're talking about like, oh, people with PRs, immigrants, like refugees, we kind of like lump everybody together, but a lot of the things to do with
Very
mortgage
different.
actually depends on the country that you're coming from.
Mhm.
Like I think there's countries that you can come from that we do like you can use history from being there,
Like
your
credit
credit history,
history. Mhm.
everything like that. Like if you're coming from the States, obviously, right?
Yeah.
There are
Yeah,
other countries
absolutely.
that are easier and some countries that are harder.
Yeah. And I think what would be nice is talking about how to build your credit history in Canada if you're a newcomer. There's a lot of tips and tricks when it comes to that, some of which I can bet, like, a lot of people that are citizens don't know to, how to increase their credit score. So there's a lot of ways in which you can build your credit rather quickly, and we're just going to help you and share with you what it is that we know in hopes that it will help you and your family build, put down some roots, build your family, build your home here in Canada. And even those people that are watching us and they've been living in Canada, they're born in Canada and they want to build their credit. There are definitely greater ways for you to increase your credit score and make sure that it helps, because that is very important, by the way, right?
There are these cards. They're
Mhm.
like technically a debit card, but they work sort of like a credit card. It's kind of like a hybrid that I've heard of that I've had friends use because they were like late in life to get a credit card. They just heard they were bad news and like never got one. But yeah, you could get these debit credit cards that are meant to help you build your credit. So I don't know the name of the companies or anything, but if it's on your mind, look it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, so there's that. There is, like, if, let's say, someone, a parent, for instance, who's got a great credit, they get you a credit card, then that'll help you build a credit as well, build your credit, because they've got a great credit. Now they put you as an extra card holder. Now suddenly you get to benefit from that as well. But or if you have children and you want to help them, this is one way to do that. So we'll talk about that maybe another segment. I just want to share with you something really exciting that we all work together and put it together, and now our home sellers get to really, really benefit from. And that is our new staging booklet, where inside we are sharing with you basically like check marks of what you need to do to each room and how to get it ready. So presentation is very important. And it's not just staging, by the way. When I talk about presentation, there's all these other things. And yeah, we will definitely talk about that in our next segments. Any final thoughts you want to add on here, Eva, for our viewers here? They've been kind enough to allow us to talk to them and maybe help them with their real estate questions, concerns, what's happening in the marketplace. What can they expect happening in the next little bit?
Prices
Final
go up.
thoughts.
Prices go up, and at the end of the year, we always know inventory gets less. That could definitely make things a little bit harder. Right now, if you jump in, you kind of have a pick of the litter, as you might say, um,
Yeah.
because there is some inventory, not enough. But you know what? Like, I just always want to like leave with encouragement. Like, if you're somebody you have doubt in your mind, if you could make it happen, get in touch with us. And like Anna said, there's always solutions to everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're here to help you guys. Don't ever doubt yourself about homeownership. Some people, doesn't matter what kind of home, if you're moving up to the next home or you're just getting into your first home and whatnot, there is always a way for you to get into that home. We're here to help you. We're here to share with you what we know, and the nice thing is, because we talk to so many people, we get to see all these different obstacles and challenges being solved that we're here to share that wealth of knowledge with you. So with that said, I want to say thank you to Eva for joining me today. I want to say thank you to you for watching us. We hope that we brought in some value to you. If you want to get a free consult with us, if you are looking to buy, we're happy to share with you, find out what exactly your home search criteria is and sort of tell you what would be the best way to tackle your situation. If you're looking to sell your home, we are offering free home evaluation that we are going to basically come in and share with you how you can go about getting your home up and going. We have an amazing group of vendors that we work with and a list of vendors that we work with, and we're happy to basically share those awesome contacts with you. So don't be shy, reach out to us, whether it's through Instagram, through Facebook, through YouTube, and what have you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for allowing us to be with you and bring you hopefully some value. So with that said, thank you. And listen, join us next week. If you have any questions, bring it on. We are more than happy to answer your questions. All righty. Thank you. Bye for now.